stepping out. It's Friday night. How I'm longing for this day. Yes,
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Single Mother by Choice. My name is Martine, and today is going to be the first bump date in my first pregnancy. Woo woo! I just have to show it again. I'm pregnant! Okay, I just had to show it one last time. I don't know, can't stop looking at this stuff. Alright, so I do want to share sort of the 0 to 4 week period in my pregnancy. So one thing I realized was, I'm like, why are people saying I'm 4 weeks pregnant when really I'm just 2 weeks pregnant? Well, one thing I realized was that often doctors will use the date of your last menstrual period as like the start of the pregnancy or like the process of getting pregnant. So at this point, I guess this makes me 5 weeks, 2 days pregnant, but really actually pregnant 3 weeks, 2 days. But every app, every like pregnancy calculator puts me at 5 weeks and 2 days because they use your last menstrual period as the start of your pregnancy. I guess I didn't share in the last video because I was rambling, but my due date will be July 26th. Now, of course, we all know baby can come sooner or later than that, but that is what I've calculated thus far. I still haven't seen an OB because I still have to see my reproductive endocrinologist, and I have an appointment coming up where I have to have my first ultrasound. I'm also having blood work done as well to test my progesterone because I'm still taking endometrin 3 times a day. And yeah, so exciting times, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess I'll start off with sharing symptoms. Like I said, the 2 weeks kind of came and went. I was sort of an emotional person at that time. I was feeling down and in the dumps. And ever since I had started the injections, the IVF medication to stimulate my ovaries, I was having like breast tenderness, breast pain, like more than tender. It was really, my boobs were like in pain. But I guess the difference later was that my boobs also became more engorged. They started feeling and looking bigger. So towards the tail end of my 2 week wait, probably 4 days or so before I would have had my period, I started to have sort of light cramps. Sorry if I'm looking down, I have my notebook. I started to have light period cramps, and because this had happened to me before in my first 2 week wait, I just assumed like, oh, this is my body preparing for a period. And then that Sunday before I was supposed to see my doctor, I also had spotting, which at the time I thought was just the start of my period, but then it didn't continue. And in my mind, I attributed that to the fact that I was taking the progesterone suppositories. I just thought, well, I read somewhere that it could delay your period and stuff like that. So I just attributed the spotting to me being on progesterone. It also, I think, sometimes causes spotting, the progesterone. So I don't know, don't take my word on that, but I feel like I read that somewhere. So again, I just attributed it to the progesterone that I was taking. But I did spot on Sunday morning before I went in for my appointment. And then after I uncovered that I was pregnant, actually even a couple of days before, I started to have like vivid dreams. And I'm a dreamer. I dream a lot, but these, like every time I closed my eyes, I would have vivid dreams, and dreams where I could remember like the details. They just all stuck out to me. And I felt like I was dreaming all night, all the time, and I remembered everything. And that was pretty much it for that. And I guess that would put me at about 3 weeks. And then around 4 weeks, towards the tail end of like the 0 to 4 week period, my hunger increased, and I was starting to feel like, or continued to feel, somewhat bloated. I experienced some constipation, which I read that can happen with your progesterone levels getting really high. Like the hormonal changes in your body can cause your digestive system to slow down. And I'm not someone, TMI, but I'm not someone who suffers from constipation. So that was odd for me. And I also took this school trip. So I had to go with my students up for a trip. And it was a long ride. It was from New York City practically up to the Canadian border. And so it was about a 6-hour bus ride. And particularly coming back, I was so uncomfortable. And I thought, oh man, I'm like gonna lose this baby, because I had so much cramping. It wasn't painful to the point where I felt like I needed something, or it wasn't like, I don't know, it was just like period cramps. And it just felt like so uncomfortable to be in these bus seats, and I couldn't move. So whenever I could walk around or do something, like I felt okay, but being cramped and seated on those small bus seats, because I'm not a small person, it just was really uncomfortable. So I had to like stretch my back while I was sitting. I just couldn't sit still, and it was like the longest ride coming home. That was really uncomfortable, and I just had cramps that whole ride. And also towards the end of the 4 weeks, I started to experience frequent urination. Oh my gosh, I just realized something as I'm talking about all my symptoms and this and that. I just realized the best part of this story. I'm going to pause on my bump date, because I'm not going to mention her name, but when I was telling everyone, I texted one of my best friends. I've known her forever. And I texted her and I was like, guess what? I'm pregnant. And then she texted me back, oh my gosh, my husband just went out to get a pregnancy test. I think I'm pregnant too. And then I didn't hear from her. She's like, I'll text you when I know. I didn't hear from her. But the next day I got a message with a picture, and she's pregnant too. And she wasn't even really trying to have a baby. I mean, as far as I know, they weren't trying to have a baby. And like, she's pregnant, and it's her first child. And we're like really good friends. We traveled together this summer. We've known each other for like, I don't know, 12 years or something. And yeah, so she's having a baby. And so we can actually go through this together. It's amazing. My mom's like, oh my gosh, you guys are like twin sisters. She's 2 weeks ahead of me. So right now I'm 5 weeks and she's 7 weeks. It's so nuts, right? Anyway, back to the story. Back to my boring bump date. No, it's so exciting that like my best friend is also pregnant at the same time. How freaking crazy is that? Anyway, medications, like I said, I'm on progesterone, but the minute I confirmed I was pregnant, because I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, I take levothyroxine every single day. So I had told my endocrinologist that I was trying, and she's like, the minute you are pregnant, you need to contact me ASAP, like, and follow this particular protocol. So, I sent her a message and she wrote me back right away, and she's like, set up an appointment and here's what to do. So I did have to increase my levothyroxine until I can see her. And the reason is because there are so many hormonal changes happening in your body throughout your pregnancy that it often, whether you have a thyroid problem or not, they do monitor that as well, because you can become like you can develop hypothyroidism, or like your numbers can go off, which can then cause risks and problems for the baby. So I will be seeing her. So I'm seeing my RE, reproductive endocrinologist, on Tuesday, and I'm seeing my endocrinologist on Wednesday. And I'll be seeing her every 6 weeks after that, because they again have to monitor my numbers and just make sure that the level of medication I'm on, is healthy and helps me to maintain a healthy thyroid throughout the pregnancy. So, let's see. I already shared with you like my story about the home pregnancy test and my HCG levels. They have gone up. They went up. The first time it was 118, and then the second time it was like over 1100. So that was really amazing. And so I can't wait to share with you, I guess, in my 5 to 8 week update, I will share with you the results of the ultrasound, if it's one or more babies, and then the HCG level as well, and whether or not I'm still on progesterone. So telling people, like I said in my last video, how could I keep this to myself? I mean, people have been following my journey, whether here on this channel or just in my personal life. When I see people, they're like, hey, how's it going? Any updates? Like, how could I be like, no update? You know, like they've been along for the ride for so long. And that's because I'm generally an open book. And one of my friends and coworkers, she said to me, like, only share this with like people in your life that you care about and this and that. But I did, and I do share it with people in my life that I care about. But I also feel like, certain people, my colleagues included, like just have been following this for a long time and have expressed like concern and well wishes, and like how could I not share that with them too? And I'm an open book. I don't know. I kind of just put it out there. And like I said, God forbid something happens, like that's part of the journey too. And like I want to be very transparent, and I don't want to make anything, miscarriage is something that's very common with women, and like I want to share that too. God forbid if that happens, like I don't want to keep that, and that's just going to be part of my journey if, again, God forbid something does happen. So I feel comfortable about my decision to tell. Plus, it's not just my decision, because, by the way, my mother has, I think anyone she runs into, she tells as well. So I got like a phone call from my cousin Charlie, and he was like, oh my gosh, your mom told me. And then like somebody, oh my gosh, I just found out. So it's not just me, because my mom is like over the moon. She's not someone who shares her feelings as much, but like she's clearly really excited. She's already planning the nursery. She's already planning like so much stuff. So I guess we both couldn't keep our mouth shut. Worries or wonderings. So I'm wondering, like with the HCG, could it mean multiples? But I have looked a lot on the internet, and numbers can vary dramatically in HCG levels in your pregnancy. So I've read where women had higher HCG levels with one baby versus when they had multiples. So that's just, we'll see when we see, we'll find out on Tuesday. Actually, you know what? I'm probably going to be updating a lot more regularly on my Instagram. So if you don't follow me yet on Instagram, I'll link that down here so you can go check it out. So you'll be able to see ahead of my update sort of what's happening. And you'll see if I have multiples or not. And also, will I be able to give birth naturally? So that's something that's really important to me. And given the fact that I'm a bigger person and I'm older, they put me in the high risk category, obviously, right? So I'm 38. So my hope is that I'll be able to give birth naturally. And so in the books that I've been reading lately, they're like, make sure, if that's something that's really important to you, that you pick doctors that will not fight you on that idea. Find doctors or midwives that share the same philosophy as you. And obviously, if something is wrong, or if there's an emergency situation where I have to have a C-section or something else, some sort of other medical intervention, I'm okay with it. I just want to be given a chance, if I'm healthy, to, give birth naturally. So I'm hoping for that, and I'll keep you posted on that as well as I proceed. And again, I want to shout out you guys. So I think that's something I'll add to these updates. I want to shout you guys out because whether I was having a good day or a bad day, or just asking questions on here, or just sharing my experience, you have been so supportive, and I really appreciate that. And that goes as well for my friends and family who have just been really supportive and encouraging, and not thinking that I'm a crazy person for doing this. It's meant a lot to me, because without the support, I don't know if I would have continued or gone this far. I also want to give a shout out to a stranger on the train. So I was coming home last Wednesday, and on the train, and I was sitting with my friend. We were chatting, of course, talking about the baby and breastfeeding and all of that stuff. And suddenly this guy turns around. He was sitting in front of us. He turns around and has his phone open to this woman's name, and he's like, oh my gosh, this was our lactation consultant, she is so great, and this and that, and he went on, and I was just like, oh my gosh, how nice. First, I didn't realize I was talking that loud, but B, how nice, and so I didn't get his name, but shout out to you, mister, on the Long Island Railroad, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And I thought that was so sweet and so kind. So I did take her number, and he's like, yeah, don't let people pressure you into one thing or the other. This is your child, and you know what's best. So I was like, thank you, kind sir. And of all people, it was a guy. So I was like, oh, that is so sweet. So shout out to you. And that's it for now, guys. If you have questions, concerns, or if you have a story you want to share with me, whether it's a success story or a story where you feel like women need to know some of the challenges that you're going through and how you're overcoming them, I would love to highlight you on the channel and make sure you get a shout out. All right, so that's it from me. I will see you next time. Have a great day. Oh, don't forget to comment, subscribe, and don't forget to go over to my Instagram channel so you can follow all the updates in real time. Adios, guys. Bye.
Stepping out, it's Friday night. How I'm longing for this day. Yes, I'm single, oh, we won't do